of documents, and Sam has referred to some of them just now. Nigeria has produced tons of documents from several dialogue sessions in the last 63 years, but let me limit myself to the last 29 years, from Babangida's 1986 Political Bureau to Jonathan's 2014 National Dialogue. The recommendations for structural reform from these dialogue events have been ignored by a succession of leaders. But these previous recommendations must now be considered among the low-hanging fruits from which to start the project of salvaging our failing nation state. If Nigeria is to be saved, the changes we require to bring about are not superficial at all. They are massive, they are fundamental, they are far-reaching. But in my view, the required changes can be summarized under three broad themes. 1, rule of law. 2, equal citizenship. 3, self-determination, or what has been described as devolution of powers, so as to reflect our true nature as a federal state and not a unitary system that is pretending to be a federation. We must trace our steps back to the federalist route negotiated by the founding fathers and understand that the basis of our existence as Nigeria is mutual respect of the religious, ethnic, and cultural diversities of all those in the Union. It took several years for the founding fathers to negotiate the kind of constitution that we had in 1960 and 1963. And the military guys came in 1966 and changed it all with no negotiation. We need to return to the negotiation if we are to have peace. The 1979 Constitution has vested too much power in the center and emasculated the federating units. There is widespread call today that we dust up the 1963 Constitution and amend it for our present-day circumstances. Part of the implications of this, as Sam has said, may be that we go back to embrace the parliamentary system, that we adopt no more than 6 or 7 viable regions or states. Most of the money we generate in this country is used to service the bureaucracy. It is not sustainable. When I was a young boy, we had one place called Ebira Division. Now you have 5 local governments with 5 chief executives that need to be serviced. And they don't generate anything. So whatever they receive from Abuja is used to just service the chief executives. It's a useless system. We need to throw it away. Yeah. So we need to have local administrative structures that are viable, that generate resources. When I was young, the local government, the division, they had a works department, they had agri department, they had forestry department, they had water resources that worked. That worked. We had forest rangers. We had, they repaired our roads. There was water supply. As a young boy, I didn't go fetching water. I had water supply, clean water that you can drink from the tap in my house. We need to return to the kind of system that gave us that. We need to cut down massively on the cost of governance by merging ministries, departments, and agencies in a much more radical manner than the Ehusain report. I mean, I felt terribly disappointed that after 12 years, you just announced that you approved the Ehusain report, but since the Ehusain report, you have created 600-700 more departments and agencies. So are you saying that we return to Ehusain report, meaning Ehusain report said we should have only about 300. So should we have only about 300 and merge all the others? And I would say yes, meaning ignore all the ones that were created ever since then, because they are not sustainable. I know agencies and departments that have signboards, federal government commission for this, and they have big houses in Abuja, and you hardly see anybody there, because some of those things, they were supposed to be ad hoc commissions, meaning the task for which they were created could be carried out in 3 months, and they are done away with. But people have been receiving money, they have been chief executives for 10 years. It's a useless system, and we need to throw them away. We must now summon the courage to discuss openly and frankly the thorny issues of religion and state of origin. We must agree on what place, if any, Sam already alluded to this, what place, if any, religion should play in governance, and resolve on whether we want to live under a monarchical theocracy of some sort, or we want to live together as a modern, federal, democratic, multi-ethnic, and multi-religious entity founded on the principle of justice, equity, equality, and mutual respect. I am a priest of the Catholic Church, but I am one of the first to say the government has no business funding pilgrimages, Christian or Muslim. If we are not able to resolve these thorny issues once and for all, I would humbly submit that we allow any political entities desiring to secede, please let them do so safely and peacefully. Before it is too late, because quite frankly, as presently constituted, Nigeria is not working for the majority of those who call this place their home. Just last week, I was at a forum, and I mentioned that if till today, Nigeria has not been able to apprehend and bring to justice those who killed Deborah, I don't want to live in that kind of society. Reason is that why must I be bound by the blasphemy law of another religion? If I am accused of hate speech, I should be tried in the courts because we have laws covering that. But why should I be bound by the blasphemy laws in the 21st century or blasphemy laws of another religion? Because actually what is blasphemy for another religion may not be blasphemy for my religion. And that till today nothing has happened to apprehend and bring to justice those who killed Deborah, I think is a terrible thing. It's a terrible stain. It's a crime against humanity. I said it somewhere, and somebody got up and said, "Oh, but we don't know. We don't know what she said," and so on. I said, whatever she said, she deserves her day in court. And if she never had her day in court and she was killed by mob justice, I don't want to live in a country where by mob justice people are killed. I don't want to live in that kind of country. Let me conclude by saying once again that I honestly do not believe that any measure of political or structural configuration can take Nigeria out of the present conundrum as long as we as a people continue to bear such a heavy burden of ethical and moral degeneracy. To address this situation that has bedeviled our nation, what we require is nothing short of a wholesale ethical and moral revolution. But can the imperative of an ethical and moral revolution be incorporated into the ongoing debate on the reconfiguration, recalibration, and restructuring of the Nigerian state? I pray that many participants at this and similar dialogue sessions will give the required attention to this much neglected but critical element of our nation building project. Thank you for listening.